Campbell.
Thank you, Chair, and thank witnesses for coming today. I have two questions. The first is I'd like to know if your groups, each one of you, if you support or are opposed to legalization.
We strongly support legalization.
Mr. Osu?
Yes, I'm not supposed to touch a button. I'll touch it. Yes, I know it's the big no-no. I think I stated at the end that we are not opposed to decriminalization of marijuana, but just making sure that we have the right policies and legislation in place.
Ms. Jake?
I'm speaking on behalf of myself and not my institution, but given the evidence, I'm in strong support of the legalization.
Mr. Paris?
As an organization that's there to protect kids, we are not for or against. We want to make sure that whatever regulation, if it does happen, and we feel the kind of trains left the station, quite frankly, on this one, that we do our utmost to protect our kids. We're not convinced necessarily of that.
And I have a second question for you, and it's in dealing with youth. We've failed as a society to educate our youth. Would you agree with that statement?
I believe so. I think so.
And the second thing is, do you think that the depression and the things that you see are as a result of using marijuana, or are they already there, and the marijuana is in fact self-medication, the same as alcohol or any other drug? It's something I've always been concerned of throughout my life, that we tend to blame something instead of seeing what the real problem is. It's sometimes abuse, abuse, poor home environment, bullying. Would you comment on that?
Absolutely. In a presentation we did to the Standing Committee on Health with one of our advisory council, Dr. Barakat, was very eloquent about that. He's a clinician, and in his practice, he said that almost half of the kids were self-medicating. A lot were done because of relieving anxiety and stress, often due to undiagnosed ADD or ADHD, but also other traumatic effects like bullying, like abuse or neglect, or even other traumatic, a marriage breakup in a family. So yes, a lot of it begins that way, and the problem is that when a child starts using a drug, whatever substance, to relieve the anxiety and the stress, that's where the spiral of addiction risks itself, because the only time they feel good is when they're high, so they continue to do that practice, and the behavior then becomes problematic.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, okay. You got more time. You really do economize.
Could I add to a response to the last question?
If that's okay with the Senator, sure.
Thank you. I think it's really important to note as well that we see the harms concentrated in particular groups of young people, and those are young people who have experiences with poor home environments, who have low socioeconomic status, who are racialized, who are marginalized in other ways, and so I think it's really important to recognize that piece as well, that it really is a chicken and the egg thing in terms of what our evidence shows, but that's an important piece.